All right, and we are live. I'm here with Analytical Chick, Coffee with Comment, and Texan will be joining us shortly. I'm going to go post this link now on Twitter. Let's see. I'm at my condo right now, and my computer is being really dumb. All right, well, I guess AC, do you want to start? You want to talk about your channel?
Sure. Well, I haven't been on your live streams before, so I think Maga here has. So I have a channel, and I talk about things like I talk about a lot of like communism, Antifa type stuff, especially at one point in my early on in my channel, like a few months ago. And then I don't really do current events as much as other people do, but I do like concepts. Like I've been talking about the alt-right a lot lately. I don't like that very much.
Yeah, I'm actually, I think I'm going to be doing an interview with someone. I won't say her name. She's alt-right. I think we'll be doing that maybe at a week from now. So hopefully that goes through because that'll be interesting. Because I mean, I don't consider myself alt-right, but I do like talking with everybody. And like Jordan B. Peterson says it best, I think you got to get out of your comfort zone. You can't always just live in your own echo chamber because it's like walking in a desert. I mean, you got to mix it up a little bit. And so I'm hoping to even find some people far left that I disagree with to talk to, but it's kind of hard because the people I disagree with, I mean, their channels are really big and mine's pretty small in comparison. They really don't want to ever, I guess, join up. But I digress.
You can just keep hounding them. I saw a couple of your videos, Analytical Chick. What do you want to be referred to, by the way?
You can just call me like AC or Analytical Chick.
All right. Yeah, I saw a couple of your videos. I thought having the Jewish perspective was interesting and a good twist.
Yeah, well, that's probably one of the reasons why I go head to head with them. And then when I talk to my Jewish friends, they're like, "You're so brave." A lot of people feel like they're pinched from both sides. They're pinched from the left with all this pro-Palestinian stuff, and they're pinched from the right by the alt-right.
Yeah, I could get that. But I still think that at least having your perspective out there is going to be a great pull for your channel going forward. How long have you had your channel?
I started making videos in August.
Oh, wow.
All right, Coffee, how about you? I mean, I know we've had a few streams, but I guess for anyone that watches in the future, what's your channel about?
Yeah, it's Coffee with Comment. I do raw political analysis, and most of it's lately I've just been screwing around with video editing. So, but I'll be getting back to regular content creation in a week or two.
Yeah, I see. I see that you and Stefan Molyneux are kind of having a little role there.
Let's not derail the whole conversation.
That works. That works.
Because we keep doing that on man streaming, and
I must say though, I saw you gain like 200 subs like in 2 days. So I mean, I think people are. I mean, they're coming over at least.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get going here. The government shutdown. AC, tell me what you think. What happened? What's going on there?
Well, the Democrats threw a temper tantrum. That's what happened. I mean, can you put it any more succinctly?
I'm glad that the Republicans did not acquiesce to them, because it seems like what happened in the past anyways is that the Democrats would freak out, they would throw a temper tantrum, and then Republicans would stand up for a little bit, then be like, you know what, no, you're right, and they'd be acquiesce. They did this earlier. I think it was Trump's first spending bill when he became president. he wanted wall funding, and they said no. They threatened a shutdown, and then the Republicans acquiesced to him. So I'm actually glad. I guess I'm not really sure what's all in this new deal, but from the outset, just from my own personal perception, it did appear that they were actually making their stand. And I found it kind of funny how they tried saying this was Trump's fault the shutdown happened, which it clearly wasn't. I mean, I won't say that it was completely Democrats' fault, but it mostly was.
Yeah, well, that's just from people that don't understand how the government's supposed to work. You know, they want to treat the president like a king. He's not the king. It's up to Congress to do this stuff.
And like Jim Acosta from CNN and, you know, all those people, they keep making the same argument, which is completely false, is that it doesn't matter if Republicans own the presidency, House, and the Senate. They cannot do much unless they have 60 votes, because you need 60 votes to bypass the filibuster. And since they only have 51 votes, they can't do anything. If the Democrats wanted, they could talk about green eggs and ham like Ted Cruz did for like 50 hours and nothing would get done.
Yeah, that is just a farce to me. And some of the other stuff I was reading, I saw this one Politico article where they had a bunch of senators in a room to you know, talk about the shutdown and all this stuff, and they were passing around a Native American talking stick and like chucking it at each other. Like I'll post the link in the chat so you can put it on the live chat, but it's just ridiculous. I'm like, what is Congress even doing that they're chucking crap at each other, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of what I think about the government shutdown, I think the Republicans did give in. I mean, they ended up funding CHIP, which was a big no-no as far as I'm concerned. CHIP is the Children's Health Insurance Program or plan or something like that.
Yeah, when they say children, they mean like illegals, right? Isn't that what it was?
It's children under a certain age. So it's not necessarily illegals.
All right, you guys keep talking. I'm talking to Texan in the chat. I'm trying to get him on here. He's having trouble here, but yeah, I don't know. Like, so is there going to be funding for the wall though? Do they determine that, or are they just doing that after February 8th? Because this spending bill only is going to last until February 8th.
What happened?
I think they just kicked the can down the wall,
Yeah, they did. And what happened was the Democrats didn't want to sign a temporary funding measure if they didn't get DACA protection. And so they decided to stonewall the bill, right? And that led to the government shutdown, which is fine. As far as I'm concerned, it could stay shut down until they actually vote on the issue. But the problem with the Republicans was that they didn't want to vote on DACA without having the government funded. They also, like I said, caved on the CHIP thing, which was their kind of like their bargaining, you know, little bargaining tool that they were using. I'm really upset that they decided to fund the government for what, until February 8th. That's not even a full month.
Yeah. Right.
The conservatives and Republicans in office, I think that one of the biggest problems that the right has is that we constantly cave. I mean, one thing the alt-right is correct about this. We constantly cuck to the left. We have way too many people cucking to the left. Like when I talk to people, I'm like, you know, they will say to me things like, oh, well, you know, it's really disappointing that you know, the left keeps gaining so much power. But then when you say to them, like, okay, just talk to 5 people. Just talk to 5 people and try to get them a little more involved, try to get them more awake.
The problem with people on the left is that all of their arguments come from places of emotion. You know, think of the children, the poor little brown children that Trump wants the alt-right to murder and run over in trucks. Okay, this is why you get people up there, because it's all about saving face. Right, you've got the Democrats up there who decided to cave on the funding bill to save face because it would have completely tanked their party going forward in 2018,
right,
with the elections. Okay, but you had the Republicans also cave because it was like, but think about the children. Let's talk about the children. Let's have a DACA vote now, you know. And it's just, this is why we continually cave to the the Democrats
Well,
is
and
because
that's
we don't
the
have
thing is
enough
we should know
alpha
better.
males in Congress.
We
Was
have
that
some, but we don't have enough.
not enough?
Yeah, I mean, like Jim Jordan is awesome. He's my favorite congressman.
I love Trey Gowdy. That guy.
Yeah, Trigger is awesome. Well, I think there's this false belief that the Republicans in Congress have that the Democrats have a lot of power and influence in America. And I mean, I do understand where they can see this a little bit, just based off, television, Hollywood and stuff. It appears that the culture is primarily left. But if we would just base it on attrition and statistics, I think they'd realize that, for instance, the Democrats have lost over 1,000 elected seats since 2010. So, I mean, even though it appears the Democrats may be in charge or may have more influence in terms of the population, they really don't. And I think Republicans, they're afraid to lose their seats in Congress. And that's why they don't want to really completely get rid of Obamacare. I mean, they want to do a soft repeal where there's still facets of Obamacare in place, but for the most part, it's, I mean, other way around. They get rid of some of it, but for the most part, it's still Obamacare. And I think that mentality they have, I think they got to get rid of it. They got to realize that, no, you know what? The left is so partisan in Congress, especially, that it's time for us to do the same. I mean, no more trying to placate them.
Both sides are extremely partisan. What you need, though,
definitely,
is to have people in there with a strong enough constitution, enough fortitude to say, you know what? It doesn't matter whether the government's funded or not. We were elected to do X, and we need to do X.
Yep. I mean, and by the same token, more conservatives on the ground.
AC, you're breaking up a lot.
Me?
Yeah, I think so. Unless it's my headphones, but.
And that tends to get better.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
I think your microphone's messed up. AC, you might have to unplug it or plug it back in or something.
It's the built-in.
All right, that could be good.
If you drop and rejoin, it'll usually clear it up.
Yeah, let me try refreshing.
Yeah, Coffee. I tried pasting that link in the chat, but it looks like it didn't go. Let me.
What I'll do, I'll tweet it out, and then if people want to see it, you can go to American Cup of Joe, and you can see the story there.
That works. Yeah, I posted again. We'll see. It looks. No, it didn't. All right, AC, you back? It looks like.
Yeah. Do I sound better this time?
You do.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I guess back to it now. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I kind of guess I have to go into do some more research into what this deal actually entails, because I wonder if the Republicans did get anything from it at all, or if they just basically placate to them and acquiesced again. Because as of now, I mean, it appears that they were standing their ground, but now a deal was made. So I think the question becomes, did they actually stand their ground and the Democrats acquiesce? Or do they once again basically acquiesce to Democrats and let them control everything? So I have to definitely do some research into that. I confess that I haven't really yet.
I did hear something on the radio today where the first deal that they wanted, they were mad at Schumer for making a deal with Trump, and then Trump turned around and didn't sign it. So... But what I was saying before is, like, people who are on the ground, like people who are not elected officials, everybody has to, like, talk to people around you and, try to get them to care about this stuff, and then tell them, like, once you get them to, like, care, be like, okay, go talk to a few people
Right.
But that's where I find, I live in New York City, so that's where I lose people. People go, oh, it's not going to make a difference. New York is so left, and it's like, it could, I mean, if we could actually flip one congressional district in New York City, I think people would start to stand up and look.
Isn't the northern part of New York red, like kind of California, or no?
Yeah, New York State, but I'm in New York City, I'm saying, and there's a lot of closet conservatives here, but a lot of them don't bother to vote because they think their votes don't count. They don't think there's enough conservatives. And there's also a lot of people who they listen to the radio. You know, they listen to like CBS News Radio or something, and they think they think they can't stand Trump. And then like you start talking to them, and it's, I have somebody that I go through this with her. She can't stand communism. She doesn't like Schumer. She doesn't like Gillibrand. Those are our uber left-wing. Those are our left-wing senators. Doesn't like de Blasio. Doesn't like Cuomo. Doesn't want amnesty. Wants the wall. And it's, and it's like, I think you're a conservative. And they're like, no. I'm like, no, these are partisan issues now. I mean, it's disgusting that safety and, the wall and protecting our country and, not letting illegals walk all over us. It's crazy that that's a partisan issue. When I was a kid, that had never been a partisan issue.
Well, what part of the problem is that they're still listening to the news media. And if
exactly.
you can say to those people, listen, there's a lot of people that are reviewing the news on YouTube. You have a couple of channels that do a great job of that. And then, try to get them off of the, the deep state propaganda arm.
I'm working on it.
All right, it appears Tex just joined up. So Tex, welcome. All right, looks like
he's gone.
And he's gone.
Maybe he's switching accounts.
All right, let's talk FISA here. So, all right, I'm gonna go on a little minute kind of rundown of this because there's there's a subscriber I've been a subscriber to him like for a while. He's been to me for a while since like back in the old days when we had like 100 subs, and he has a Towergate series. Right, every day it's a new video regarding Towergate, the FISA warrants, and things of that nature. And there is some very, very interesting information regarding this whole memo that everyone wants out here. So I'm going to go over something for a minute here. So, right, and this is all
real quick though. Why is it called Towergate?
Because of the FISA warrant for spying on Trump communications, apparently.
Okay.
Regarding the Trump Tower.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm going to post a link in the chat so you can see the FISA investigation into it, so you kind of know what I'm talking about here. And yeah, this is pretty interesting here. So basically, on November 2015 to April 2016, DOJ insiders and outsiders, including Fusion GPS, accessed the NSA and FBI databases using the FISA 702.17 queries. This allowed Fusion GPS to do opposition research using the NSA database. It stopped on April 18th when NSA Director Mike Rogers discovered the illegal activity, and he ordered his compliance officer to do a full 702 FISA audit. The audit concluded that FISA was being abused not only by government insiders, but by outside contractors, which included Fusion GPS. Mike Rogers briefed the FISA court on which caused them to investigate and file a document known as the improper disclosures of raw information, which is what I just posted in the chat there. And that confirmed Director Rogers' findings. So this document was entered into the record in late April 2017. So the information then collected from the NSA was being collected by Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS was then shut down because of the FISA investigation and the NSA audit, so they could no longer get their information from the database. So what they did, they brought in this woman named Nellie Orr, who is a Russian expert and former CIA asset, and who's also the wife of Bruce Orr, who was a high-ranking member of the Department of Justice. So Nellie and her husband, she used her husband Bruce's position in the DOJ to continue to gather more FISA data on the Trump administration or the Trump campaign at the time. And then what they did, Fusion GPS and all those that are working with them, they created a draft, and they gave that draft to Christopher Steele, and he basically took credibility for it. Even though Christopher himself didn't actually create the draft, Fusion GPS got the draft using FISA. They gave it to Christopher Steele, and they made up a story that, you know, what he did, he investigated, he wrote himself. So, I mean, this was essentially an attempted coup to stop Trump from becoming president. Thoughts? I know. It's nuts. Like, you know, his channel is great. It's just nuts.
They used a FISA warrant to allow Fusion GPS to use NSA data collection, right? Am I following this right?
Yep. And that
wiretap President Trump and do opposition research and all of that.
Yep. They were basically allowed to, I think the FISA order, okay, someone's, I think speaker's kind of loud. I'm hearing my echo. Yeah, anyways, they used FISA order to basically garner information on Trump administration, all to try to just destroy him from becoming president. And we see this more and more. I mean, Peter Strzok and the woman he was screwing, they basically, I mean, he admitted on her in a text message that we have to stop this one way or another. Right.
I'm just blown away that they were able to get a FISA court.
Yeah, it's on that link I sent in the chat. If you click on it, it's page 82 of the document. It says like non-compliance. That basically means outside contractors. That's where they were allowed to look at the NSA database, which is nuts. I mean, first off, FISA in itself, I believe, is unconstitutional. Second, if you are going to use it, though, you sure as hell do not allow outside contractors, especially one which is a firm that has been used to help the DNC in the past, look at it. So the only logical conclusion I think you can make from that is that Obama allowed this to happen because he wanted to make sure Trump did not become president, because he would destroy everything Obama actually worked on. So he allowed this atrocity to happen on the attempt of stopping Donald Trump from becoming president one way or another, either to tarnish his reputation before the election or to destroy him after the election by this whole Russiagate scandal, which is completely nonsensical, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like someone on something on an acid trip came up with and was like, "Yeah, that's a good idea," but they didn't. Yeah. It's obviously not very well thought through.
I think they thought they were going to get away with it because
most people thought Hillary would probably win.
It all goes back to the left can't meme. If it was completely reversed, we would have destroyed whoever they got elected.
Yeah, and you know, Hillary, she actually she kind of ruined it when she, I mean, the deplorable comment was bad, but when she basically called the alt-right, because the alt-right was, you know, they existed, but after that they basically blew up. And at the time, they really loved Donald Trump. I don't think they love him as much anymore since, like, he didn't end DACA on his first day like he said he would. But either way, during the campaign, he got a lot of support from them.
Well, they're really, really upset about the whole Jerusalem thing, too, because of how much they've ramped up the Jew hate.
Tex, do you have your microphone on?
Am I coming in okay?
Oh, yeah, you are good. All right, well,
I had to turn the sound levels down. I think I was causing the echo.
So showing up fashionably late. Nice, nice.
Yeah, well, a few technical difficulties here.
I guess quickly, you want to go over your channel quick before we jump right back into it?
Yeah, my channel, Texan, it's mostly political commentary, something like Six Hexenhammer, 666, and maybe a few others out there. So I kind of bounce around alternative news, this, that, a little bit of alt-right, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, it's the whole FISA mess. I mean, like I read the article on the Daily Wire, and it showed a bunch of different tweets from congressional Republicans, and they basically made it seem like it was the end of the world, which I know, I'm sure a lot of it, they're trying to just kind of build it up. But either way, if this is indeed true, which, I mean, the documents show, like what I posted in the chat, we know that's true. We know there was investigation. We know Mike Rogers actually stopped this from happening. That's all true. But whether this memo like confirms more nefarious and surreptitious behavior, the way that congressional Republicans are making it sound, I mean, this is a pretty big deal. So I saw some comments regarding it, like, oh, congressional Republicans, they're building, smoke with no fire, or they're making blah blah blah. It's nothing here. It's like
that sounds like a leftist who would say that. I mean, that's the thing, is we don't do that like the left does. The left makes a big production out of nothing. Do that.
It's all political theater. That's all it really is. It's political theater, back and forth, this, that. The left wants to show they're actually doing something for the people, and it's just all about money and image.
I would agree with that. I'm trying to think of instances where the situation might have been reversed, where the Republicans may have conjured something up and the Democrats were, completely against it and showing proof and all this kind of stuff, and it just wasn't getting through.
Net neutrality.
It could have been, that or the Iraq War or something.
I was just thinking of Iraq War.
Well, I mean, for the Iraq War, though, I mean, at the time, pretty much everyone voted for it. I know Ron Paul did it in Congress, but for the most part, it was bipartisan, which is kind of pathetic when you think about it, because there was no evidence there at all. But what's really interesting, and I think it was on Ron Paul, his report, they basically made the Patriot Act, like, I think a year before 9/11 actually happened. So after 9/11 happened, then they were able to introduce that to Congress and receive a confirmation vote. So, I mean, the act was already made. They were just waiting for the proper opportunity to unleash it, which they got after 9/11.
I don't think that means a lot, because you get that a lot with different bills. Sometimes senators or groups of senators have some kind of agenda they're trying to push through, and it just takes the right event to happen where they'll be able to get the momentum to get it through. I bet you there's plenty of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like Nancy Pelosi and Dianne Feinstein, every time something happens with guns and a gun tragedy somewhere, mass shooting, suddenly Dianne Feinstein goes completely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Well, what's really funny about that, too, is after the whole Texas mass shooting in the church there, and the guy was actually stopped from a Good Samaritan with an AR-15, you did not hear about that at all. I mean, it's like one of the worst shootings in America, and that one was downplayed a lot, as opposed to the white kid who shot up a black church or Vegas shooting. I mean, just because a guy was actually stopped with an AR-15, and it's...
They just have to be an NRA instructor who knew what he was doing, he knew what he was looking at, and shot the guy in a blank spot where between his body armor, where there was you can get a clean shot through. It was
narrative breaking story imminent. Shut it down.
Exactly. It goes against what the leftists want to put through and everything, for sure.
He actually had a great interview on Steven Crowder's channel, if you haven't seen it.
I saw it.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, AC? Gun control? Guns in general?
So I've never owned a gun.
Well, I mean, for... like gun control in general, do you think that we need to enforce it more, create more laws, or just enforce the laws that are really on the books? The laws, I should add, that are not actually being enforced right now. I mean, it's funny, like they want all these new gun laws, like just enforce the ones we have.
Not in Texas that never should have had a gun.
You're breaking up again, your microphone.
The Air Force kicked the guy out, and he wasn't supposed to be able to purchase a firearm to begin with, and the Air Force didn't enforce the record keeping.
Yeah, that's what it boiled down to.
There's actually more information coming out on the Vegas project. It's a pretty good website. It's Alternative Media. There's a
on the Vegas shooting.
Yeah, like basically now, like there is evidence apparently that like there's more evidence regarding Paddock that is not being disclosed to the actual people. And there's actually been protests now. People are actually protesting in Vegas for more information about it, because it seems like this new information here. There's, I think it's emails. It's either emails or text messages. It's just on the Free Thought Project that the Paddock actually was texting someone or emailing someone about selling him guns. So the reason Paddock was there wasn't just, you know, for the mass shooting or there to gamble, but he was actually there, had all those guns because he was actually going to make an arms deal, and he was actually an arms dealer.
Yeah, well, at least one of the theories, he was working for the FBI or the ATF.
I heard that a while ago. I heard that he was undercover, like CIA or something, selling arms to the public. That's what I had heard. I mean, I don't know how true it was. It's one of the things that was being thrown out there, and after I heard it a few different places.
Yeah, I heard that too, but I don't really know how much stock I can really put in it.
I don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying, like, that's what one of the rumors was.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't think there was one shooter, but you know what actually happened and what they're trying to hide, I don't know. But
well, the whole thing
is going on in Vegas.
I think it's actually starting to indicate that there, if not more than one shooter, the girlfriend actually knew that it was happening. I guess based on like when she deleted her Facebook account or something like that. Again, I'm kind of just talking conjecture right now. I'm trying to find the article on Free Thought Project. I'm having trouble though, so maybe it was a different site, but I'll have to look here because it's really interesting. I was going to do a video on it, but never did.
Well, what was suspicious was the entire time with that Vegas sheriff. He seemed like he was really on the up and up. And with that FBI agent standing over him like a goon every time they did a press conference, you keep him in line, basically a handler. Y'all notice that?
Yeah, a lot of people commented that in our YouTuber community.
Yeah, and so I find that suspicious right there.
You know, I honestly didn't pay a lot of attention to it because there wasn't a lot of facts coming out of it.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what's kind of angering most people is that, like, I mean, for the most part, whenever a mass shooting happens, there's just tons and tons of information being disseminated. You know, they're talking about it 24/7. And yes, this did get a lot of coverage, but in terms of transparency between the police and the media and police and the people and FBI and all that stuff, ATF, it was really just a lackadaisical on their part. It was really, there was nothing really there. I mean, yeah, like, okay,
like
here it is.
Fast and Furious thing?
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, because Fast and Furious, I mean, they got Brian Terry killed, who was a border agent, and no one ever heard about that. And it's funny because that should have been one of Obama's biggest scandals, yet no one wanted to talk about that. Eric Holder lied under oath about Fast and Furious, and yet he still is like not charged. But they're charging people like Mike Flynn, you know, for lying under oath and things of that nature. It makes you mad that the government, this deep state government that we have, and no, it's not a conspiracy. I mean, there are members of the government, been there forever. How they can let a liar like James Clapper go and a liar like what's AG, Black AG for Obama, Holder go over Fast and Furious, but not
It's
but
my
not
understanding. It's my understanding with the Fast and Furious, what kind of set up the whole everything in motion about the exposure of Fast and Furious is one guy went into a large gun store in Dallas, Texas, and ordered 800 AK-47s. Well, obviously, the guy at the gun store is going like, what the hell? And so he calls the ATF, and the ATF agent he's talking to says, yeah, this guy wants to buy 800 rifles. Okay. Then the ATF agent said, yeah, go ahead and let it go through, and gave his badge number, I mean, his serial number, whatever it is, agent number, and all the information, and the guy put it on a Post-it note up on the wall, the gun store owner. He made to sell 800 AK-47s. It was all legal. And then when everything started to break, when it came to him and said, you sold these AK-47s that went down to Mexico, it was just like, yeah, this guy said to go ahead and do it. And then just started off from there.
Damn.
So he saved that Post-it note. That's what saved the gun store owner from going to jail.
I'll try to post the link in the chat for that free thought project, but YouTube's not letting me. I don't know, because it says Paddock in Vegas in the link, so maybe they have it, blocked. Because I heard that they're actually basically shutting down videos and channels that try to discuss the Vegas issue.
Yeah, same with Charlottesville. They've been shutting down the stuff on Charlottesville.
What you want to do is put it out on Twitter, because YouTube in general over the last probably 2 months has been monkeying with the links that you put into the live chat. So there'll be like extra characters appended to the end or whatever. You'll click on it, it won't work.
Yeah.
Except for unless it's like CNN or something.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to share stuff, it's almost better to just do it through your Twitter and make that a habit. I think that's probably something we'll do going forward too on Mainstreaming.
Or even Gab. Gab is probably better for stuff like that.
Yeah, both. Either one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard good things about Gab. I confess I myself don't have it, but I think I'll probably
Yeah, I was surprised. They tried to tag you on there, but
I think
wasn't there.
I think I'll get set up on Gab too. I just got set up on Twitter.
the way it works is a little bit different, but there's a lot of people on there.
Yeah.
It's similar to Twitter, but it's free speech committed. And also, to a certain extent, I think they leave them alone because it's only right-wingers on there. They're worried about us getting information out to the left and, luring them away.
Yeah.
Is it, though, just mostly right-wingers, or is that just more propaganda from the media?
No, it is mostly
get people away
right-wingers.
from there.
It is,
It
but
even
just like
leans-
Minds, there's still the commies and the leftists on there looking for an audience too. Just on Gab, it is definitely weighted toward the right.
Gab also has a lot of alt-right on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the K word thrown at me a lot on there.
Yeah.
What, kiddo?
No, the one that rhymes with bike.
Kiddo. Yeah, that's bad. Kiddo.
Oh boy. Yeah, Gab, Twitter. Anyone check out MeWe?
What? Which one?
MeWe. MEWE.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I just set one up there last night. There a lot of people were saying I should be on there, so I'm like, fine, what the hell?
Yeah, I saw that. I have to sign up. Is it like kind of like a Twitter social media platform? Is it more like kind of like a YouTube for videos?
It's more like a Facebook.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I think it's a better interface than probably Minds. Honestly, Wrongthink had the best interface, but there's not a lot going on there. So,
all right, I'm gonna read this here. This is on that free thought project. To kind of go back here to the Vegas quick. Here's what an email says. So Central Park 1 at live.com sent an email to centralpark4804@gmail.com, which read, "Try an AR before you buy. We have huge selection located in Las Vegas area." And then it says later that day, an email was received back from Central Park 4804, and it said, "We have a variety of optics and ammunition to try. And then for a thrill, try out bumpfire ARs with a 100-round magazine." Huh. Investigators believe these communications may have been related to the eventual attack that occurred in Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. So, I mean, if we were just kind of try to determine what caused the attack just based on information, I think we could construe that. I mean, it looked almost like an arms deal pretty much, or at the very least, that was the initial intention on why he was there. Whether or not he was going to actually go through with the arms deal, I think it's debatable, but it appears, I mean, that's why he was there.
Could it have been one of those things where the FBI tries to entrap a potential terrorist?
That's true too.
The fishing.
They try to get them to buy like non-working bombs or guns.
That's so dumb too. Okay, I was watching Cops the other day, or not the other day, it's like a year ago or something, and what the cops were doing was called reverse drug buys. Like they would take, like, I think it was cocaine from their evidence room. They'd go out and sell the cocaine, and then they'd arrest the buyers.
Right.
Like, seriously? Like, I had no idea you could do that. It's supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that would be an open and shut case in court then.
Right.
That's entrapment. All they need is a halfway decent lawyer.
Well, I don't think it's entrapment because I think the guy comes up to them. I think it was like they're standing. I think they might have been standing out somewhere, and the guy would come up, you holding. So then, what happens there is that the cop did not initiate the issue in that
Okay.
situation.
They just go to like the known pokey corner.
I
But
think
I
you could
mean-
argue that he is initiating it if he's standing there looking like a drug dealer.
No, and to be honest, I actually could be wrong on that too. I think they might have actually went up and like you looking or something like that, which I mean that should be entrapment. You think that's definition of entrapment, but that's
I'm
just
sure a
insane.
really good lawyer could make a case for it, but
How many people
you
can afford
probably
a
get
good lawyer?
people who are poor and get state appointed attorneys, and
Yeah, even
they
I
don't
would
get a very
trust
good
those.
defense.
Yeah, about 15 years ago in Austin, Texas, I was on 6th Street at like 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And I was at a friend of mine, this black dude walks up to me and is like, hey man, you want to buy some rock? You know, I'm like, no, thanks. And we walked off. But I was thinking that could have been a cop.
What do you mean? You got some granite? You got some quartz?
Are you selling diamonds?
Yeah.
My wife needs a new ring.
So,
You know?
so I go to Vegas every March, and last year when I went there, it's like 4 a.m., and I'll be drinking, and I go to the bathroom at my hotel, and there's a guy in there. He's just kind of sitting there and smiling at me, and I was like, "Hey," and then he kind of looked at me. I kind of looked back, like, "Okay, this is kind of weird." And then he's like, "Hey man, want to buy some Coke?" I was like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "Got it right here, man. You want to try some?" I was like, "No, I'm good, thank you." Yeah, it was just random. 4 a.m. in the morning in the men's bathroom. Some guy's trying to hook me up.
I think I'd rather go on the back side of the building and take a leak away from the weirdos.
Go upstairs to your room. I've never been to Vegas.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I go there every year in March around the 15th. Well, for the last
I've been
5
to
years.
Atlantic City though, so it's probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is going to the SHOT Show right now.
What's
That
that?
would be fun. The SHOT Show?
Yeah.
That's the major gun convention of all gun conventions for all the dealers and all the FFL holders, gun store owners. It's held in Vegas.
Damn it. Now I feel dumb. I should know that.
That's like the mother of all arms bazaars. It's all legal. There's class 3 weapons there. There's sights, optics, everything you can possibly think of.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I do love my AR. I haven't went shooting yet this year. I have to start going again, but I love my guns.
I think, am I the only one here who doesn't own a gun?
Probably, yeah.
I
Or
don't know.
coffee. Oh yeah, well, a coffee lives in Pennsylvania too, right? So those.
Yeah, but if I was not in the city, I would probably have one. Although I need one in the city.
I was gonna say, shouldn't it be the opposite? Actually, speaking of that, since you live in a big city, Coffee, you ever I don't know, have you ever got mugged or ever seen it happen or anything?
You know, the worst thing that ever happened to me was actually done by the police. So, I mean, I defend them a lot on my channel, but there was one time I was out on my bike at 3 a.m. and they frisked me, gave me a hard time, chucked my vape in the weeds. I'm like, I didn't have any drugs or nothing. They're like, go back to where you came from.
I've had that kind of crap before from cops, but a long time ago.
Yeah. There's probably
Yeah,
Vice
me
sitting
too.
out there waiting for people.
Yeah. How about you, AC? You live in a big city.
Yeah, when I lived in Brooklyn, I had problems one time. Actually, like a lot. Like they would drive up next to me and stuff. These men, I lived in a really bad, sketchy part of Brooklyn. And men would pull up next to me real slow. And I finally realized like they thought maybe I was a hooker. So I'd just be like, I'm not a hooker, keep driving, and a lot of times they would just like, oh, okay, go look for one who actually is. And I got so used to this that I would say this and I wouldn't even look up. And the one time I said this and they were like, excuse me? And I look over and it's a cop.
Wow.
And I'm like, hey, you're supposed to be protecting me. And they're like, oh, okay. Because they were thinking I was a hooker, but like to arrest me.
There's so many things I could say about that, but I'm just going to be nice.
Well, when I was in my 20s, I was also pretty hot. I'm kind of chunky now, but I used to be like size 6, but, you know, I'd fill out all the right places.
Wow.
Now I'm like...
in your 20s, you said?
When I was in my 20s, yeah.
So how old are you? If you don't mind me asking. I know people this day and age might sue me for slander if I ask that question.
I'm Generation X, so I'm well over my 20s.
Oh, wow. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm Gen X too.
Coffee and I, we're the young millennials here that people hate.
Millennials. Some are
young millennials.
Everything wrong with the world today, apparently.
Yeah. Well, they say that, what I think I said in our last stream, Coffee, that 75% of millennials want a third party in 2020.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're probably going to change the world.
Party. It's the Libertarian Party. They're coming up.
You know what? I don't care what they run as long as they're actually going to dedicate themselves to running as doing what their constituents want and not taking corporate money.
I mean, it does seem like the Libertarian Party is the most promising third party, and I know they're trying to take over New Hampshire. Didn't you guys do a chat on the Libertarian Party?
We sure did.
We did, and I would actually have to disagree with you, AC. I think the third party, I think, is going to be a progressive party. It's going to branch off from the Democrats. I think we're seeing a Bernie wave and Elizabeth Warren wave, and I think they're getting tired. Like, for instance, Kyle Kuklinski, whatever, from a Secular Talk, him and Chank, they basically started the Justice Democrats, which is kind of a far left.
They kicked them out,
people have actually...
Yeah, they did.
All of these people you're talking about, they've already taken over the Democratic Party. So they don't need to break off to another party because they've already gotten their grubby little hands on the Democratic Party.
No, I don't think so, because Pelosi and Feinstein and Schumer, I mean, they are left, but they're not these hardcore left like we're seeing more and more. I think they're trying maybe to influence more of the Democratic Party, but as of now, I really don't think they have infiltrated them fully. I think before that actually happens, full infiltration, you'll probably see a progressive party or a third wave come first. I mean, I agree.
Well, I mean, there's also the Green Party. The idea of the watermelon.
Yeah, that's
green
not
on the
happening.
outside and red on the inside.
No, I don't think Green Party will go. And, you know, I'll be honest, like, Green Party, I think a lot of people, when they see Green Party or hear Green Party, they think of progressive, essentially. But, like, I do a lot of collaborations with Holly Seeliger, and she's Green Party, but she's more libertarian in terms of her issues. And, I mean, but I agree that, I mean, I don't see them really, I don't know. I think it might be a tough future for them.
Whatever political party gets in, as long as they focus more on being constitutionalist and constitutionalism, I'm okay with it, especially the first 10 amendments.
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing. I think we should revert back to what the Founding Fathers wanted. The Founding Fathers did not believe, nor did they want, political parties. I mean, they did not want lifetime, politicians either. The whole point of government was to go do your normal life and then go do session when it happened, then go back to your normal life. Now it's like a career politicians who get better health benefits than we do, who get more money than we do. I mean, the average salary of a congressman is like $185,000 a year. I mean, that's insane for someone who's supposed to be representing the people, yet they get better health care, get more benefits, they make more than us. I mean,
they need all that money to fly around on their jets to go hang out.
Yeah, no. Here's the saddest thing about this too is that I think Tex, you and I talked about this last stream. Is that people in Congress, when they go to Congress, they have so and so much money. When they leave Congress, they're multimillionaires, just from corporate donations and from book deals and going on TV. It's just insane. I mean, they should not be able to get rich just because they're supposed to be representing us.
Now, there is one thing that is legal, as I understand this so far, and it was on 60 Minutes. They did an interview with this. They tracked Nancy Pelosi on this, and it's on YouTube. So look up 60 Minutes Nancy Pelosi campaign donations, whatever. Now, how it works is, let's say if you own a corporation and you want to push through a bill and you talk to Nancy Pelosi and you tell her, so you push this through, and once it gets pushed through, then afterwards it benefits your corporation. Let's say you're a pharmaceutical corporation, then you turn around and go to Nancy Pelosi. Okay, we have stock that's about to go public, and I'm going to give you 2,000 shares, or you can go buy 2,000 shares at 50 cents a share when it first comes out. 6 months later, it's maybe $30 a share. So she turns around and sells it 6 months later at $30 a share. So it's a backdoor form of bribery. That's how
insider trading.
So I don't know exactly all the terms and details of it, but I think one of the people from 60 Minutes questioned Nancy Pelosi on that, and then she went back into Alzheimer's mode and locked up completely.
It's ironic how she was complaining about this tax reform is basically crumbs. Like, people are going to get $1,000 back a year. Well, that's probably crumbs for someone who has like what, $50 million net worth. But for people that are living paycheck to paycheck, I mean, that's good. And I'll say this: I think the tax plan could have been better. I mean, I'm for a flat tax, but to say that this only helps the rich is just nonsensical and inflammatory. It's simply untrue. And I think she knows this, or she is literally too stupid nowadays, too mentally ill, that she doesn't know that she actually believes that this only helps the rich. And what's sad about this, I have to clarify this quickly, sorry. What's sad about this too is that the American people, or those that don't really do research like we do, political junkies like us, they actually believe it too. They believe that this tax plan, that no one's going to be getting a tax break. Yet 80% of Americans will be getting a tax break. It's true. I mean, you can look this up. So.
This is the kind of stuff
the main states.
This is the kind of stuff reason why, like I say, we should be talking to people, like, to let people know, like, no, the mainstream media is lying to you. It's actually tax breaks, not tax raises. Same thing with this woman that I know, that she likes all of these conservative things, but she thinks she hates Trump and she thinks she's a leftist.
You're playing for your team, basically.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm like, you're conservative. You should have seen the look on her face when I said that. I'm like, no, you are. And I like went through all of the things.
I think that's one way that you can really have someone pull back from taking the red pill, is try to label it. Maybe when you have conversations with people, you try not to couch it in terms of, well, you're actually rooting for the other team.
Yeah,
well,
if you know what I mean.
I mean, but at the same token, she's also kind of like, maybe. I mean, the thing is, like, when I point out stuff, like, I'm like, well, you don't like Schumer, like, okay. You don't like, she doesn't, she said, though, that she would vote for Oprah if Oprah ran against Trump. But
she would vote for Oprah.
I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, does she not even understand that Oprah wants, like, amnesty and would probably support the communists and all of this stuff?
I think half the people that think they know about politics don't actually understand politics. There's been videos, I know Jimmy Kimmel has done this, and I think Mark Dice has done this as well, where they go to public gatherings and they basically tell random people on the street, like, for instance, like, they gave Hillary supporters Trump's tax plan during the campaign. They said it was Hillary's tax plan, and they're all like, "Oh, that's great! Yeah, I love it. It sounds so good." Yeah, or Bernie Sanders too.
Gave it to people and said it was Bernie's.
Yeah,
I think
they did that too.
Campus Reform or something did that.
They did.
Yeah, and it's funny because they're like, "Oh, that's great," and they found Trump, like, "Oh, well, okay, I mean, their perception completely changes. And I think that's a problem also with Congress now, like the media and those in Congress and the left, like Pelosi, I was talking about earlier, when they say there's no tax, tax cut, it's only raise taxes, only helps the rich. It's just people believe that because people don't do their own independent research.
Part of the thing is when you go to any of the news sites like CNN, Wall Street Journal, whatever, and you're looking for a specific breakdown of an issue, you're going to be digging for a long time. Because I tried to find out what specifically the contention was with the government shutdown, and nobody wanted to talk about it. All they wanted to talk about was the services that were affected. They didn't want to talk about what the specific problem was. And
well, of the left-wing media, CBS is probably the best. And even though I normally hate CBS radio, I was really surprised at some of the stuff that was on the radio today on CBS radio.
Mm-hmm.
They admitted like that basically what was going on, but they went through it really fast. Like when they don't like something, they get like a Democratic congressperson on to give their opinion.
Right.
And what I noticed is they'll give the news straight, but then they taint it by bringing on commentators who are biased to the left.
Yeah, it's basically muckraking and yellow journalism.
Right.
But it's still not as bad as CNN, which is very, 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 very fake news.
Also, MSNBC, man, they make my skin crawl.
Well, they're the ones that had Rachel Maddow on. Need I say more?
Yeah, and then those other morons in the morning.
Lawrence O'Donnell was the worst, I think. Lawrence O'Donnell, Rachel Maddow, and then Joy Reid. I mean, they're all pretty bad, but Lawrence O'Donnell, he has such a punchable face. I mean, I'm sorry to say. I mean, I'm not a violent person, but wow.
I feel that way about Rachel Maddow. I feel like she has a very punchable face. She's a lesbian, right? She looks like she's got to be a lesbian.
Yeah. She's. I call her Rachel Mad Cow. Now,
is she confirmed as a lesbian, or you just can tell by looking at her?
She is.
Yeah.
I mean, you tell by looking at her, I think she's totally out about it and that kind of thing. But that's irrelevant. She's just, batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah. Well, aren't most lesbians batshit crazy?
Careful. The one I love to hate the most is Chris Cillizza from CNN. Every time Trump does something, he has to sound off with the most feculent write-up that you could ever conceive of.
I think I'm thinking of Chris Como, I think.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, Chris Como. He's like a used car salesman. Crap.
Oh, our mayor's, our governor's brother.
Yeah.
Mario Como.
No, Mario is the father. We have what's his name?
Anthony?
Yeah, we have Anthony Cuomo.
Okay.
I grew up with Mayor Cuomo. The other one.
Yeah, Chris Como was the one during the election that said it's illegal to have WikiLeaks emails on your computer. It's illegal to have that. You have to get your information about WikiLeaks from us. Only we can go through it. It's like,
oh yeah, wow. That clip has been all over.
Yeah.
I'm serious though. If you want cancer, just type in Chris Cillizza. It's Chris Clizza. You will be in the chemotherapy within a couple hours.
Chris, what? Clizza. Let's see if I know how he looks.
No,
I don't think I've ever seen him.
Who was those ones on MSNBC that Mika Brzezinski and her cuck boyfriend, her husband?
Mm-hmm. Was it Brzezinski and Scarborough?
Scarborough, yeah, because you can tell Scarborough, it's just like they go home together, and then so the wife is like, you do this and this and this, and he's all like, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear, completely all the entire, yeah, exactly. Actually, no backbone whatsoever.
That's how they like them on the left.
Yeah, completely cucked out.
Oh boy. What else you got, Piper?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's my contemplating voice.
He's like,
Well, what's next on the Trump agenda?
Yeah, I think that comes back down to whether this deal that they made with the Democrats regarding the spending bill, whether Trump's getting what he wants. I mean, if there's going to be any down payment for the wall, I think that's going to happen. But there's not. I think his next agenda is probably going to be to keep trying to get his wall by basically saying no DACA, no wall. I mean, that'd be the hashtag to use, and I know his supporters are using it. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe there's some kind of a compromise they could come up with. Like, maybe they could do the wall, pick 50 or 100 miles of like the most needed stretch for the wall. And in exchange for that, we could give them legal residency extended instead of deporting them.
That would be akin to just kicking the problem down the line, I think. You can't. How are you going to have a wall that's only part of a wall?
Well, this is what they did in El Paso. They put a wall between El Paso and I forget which city was on the other side. But it's not just the illegals that are the problem. It's also some of these areas, you have them running drugs back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Like they run arms into Mexico, and then they bring drugs back into the U.S.
My experience living down here near the border, from what I've seen, and up and down the border, and I've seen a lot of places, out of the way places that the news people, the news cameras never go. In El Paso, it's mostly El Paso from Juarez, Mexico, is a Rio Grande, and it's mostly concrete, and there's a fence up, and there is some wall, but there's more Border Patrol presence every couple of 100 yards. They actually have Border Patrol set up in the vehicle to try to catch anybody that's jumping over the wall or the fence or anything like that. But the effective part of the wall that Trump was looking at was near San Diego and Tijuana, where there's about a 50-yard no man's land between the two fences. Have you guys seen that one?
I thought they took care of that. You're saying that they did take care of that, or they should take care of that?
You mean the one down in between Juarez, Mexico, and El Paso, or the one out in California?
The one between Juarez and El Paso, I know that they did take care of that.
Well, they kind of did, but it's still kind of porous in areas. It depends. And if you want to basically get around through the border checkpoint, you should say the wall in El Paso, you go to either Sunland Park, New Mexico, and then get around over there, or you go down to I forgot, you're further east of El Paso, maybe another 50 miles east of El Paso, you go around there. So there's ways to get around it to go to run the main part of the wall. So it has to be pretty much a solid wall going around all the way down the border. Now there's some
right, but I did read an article about how after they put whatever they put in the El Paso area, that crime went down quite a bit in both cities.
Yeah,
and I think Juarez as well.
Yeah,
well, definitely in El Paso.
I think what happened with most of the cartels in Mexico in the past year or so, I believe this, I don't have any proof of it, but I think the cartels realized so much of the media spotlight and political spotlight was on them. They probably got together like the mafia, sat around, had a conference, and agreed to. Everybody has a different route for smuggling. You do this, this is your area, whatever, and they agreed to just to keep their shootings and their mass slaughters out of the public eye. So it's still going on. It's just they just obviously they downplay it and they cover it up, and also whatever goes going on. But the main thing is that they're trying to become more business-like, and probably they spend less time shooting each other and more time just doing business deals and getting rich.
You know, I'm kind of curious, just as a little experiment, what would happen if like Trump and the GOP talked to Democrats in Congress and said, all right, we are going to give amnesty to all the dreamers, but they are not allowed to vote for the rest of their lives. I kind of wonder what would happen if.
I don't even want that.
That's part of the American experience. I don't think that's. I wouldn't support that.
One thing I can think of is either completely deport all of them, number one, or number two, a 10-year probation on them, where they have 10 years, and in that 10-year time period, they commit any crimes whatsoever, they're deported. Any of them that are gang members, like MS-13, that are
they're already supposed to be if they're under the DACA program.
Exactly, and then but they're not being deported though. That's the thing. But if they got to pay a $5,000 fine, and I think increase the qualifications for learning how to read, write, and speak English.
Well, here's what I meant with that experiment. There's been a memo release, I forgot her name, where the memo to the DNC basically admitted that the whole reason why they want mass immigration and even grant DACA amnesty, recipients, was because their votes. They're basically votes. So I kind of wonder how the Democrats would act if they just said that. What would they do if they actually be like, oh, no, blah blah, or actually how it would go down? Silence.
I don't know what to say.
I'm sorry, I'm eating.
I'm fine with DACA amnesty if we get all the border security. Beyond that, I'm not really sure I support the rest of it. Well, all right, analytical check. Please explain.
Well, if you give all the DACA people amnesty, that's Vince from the Red Elephant. He did the numbers. He crunched the numbers based on the average number of kids that Hispanics have, and it would still give them a huge amount of leverage because they have so many kids.
Okay. But so we should deport them all forcibly, right? Basically.
They're not here legally.
Okay.
I mean,
they're committing a felony.
You're going for the fifis.
Well,
right,
it's not.
I agree.
It's not a felony, Tex.
It's not a felony. I thought it was a felony.
No, it's not a felony. I think it's Go on.
But it's still a misdemeanor, and you know what? It should be a felony.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a crime. It's a crime, and I do find it is unfair in a way. It is unfair that a lot of times blanket amnesty, basically you're screwing over the people that are trying to come here illegally. And and I understand.
You mean legally, not illegally?
Yeah, legally. And I understand the people, these people are having tough lives and they're doing whatever they can for their families. I understand all that. I mean, I understand their humanity, but at the same time, either a country has laws or it doesn't. And although it is rough when you see, innocent people or good people have to suffer, is it all right to let citizens of your country suffer just to help accommodate those that are not legal citizens of the country you live in?
Yeah, exactly. It's not America's fault that other countries didn't mind their Malthusian limits. We have a culture that minds our Malthusian limits. China had a culture that didn't, and they turned around and they enacted laws to mind their Malthusian limits. Why should we have to basically, help these countries break their Malthusian limits?
Yeah, this is where the alt-right part of me comes in. And what I see is our country and our culture of Americanism being destroyed through immigration. And if I had my way, I would completely seal up the border, run everybody out of here that's not a legal American, and just run them all out of here, and just try to get back to the culture of Americanism, you know. And one of the things also too, I want to stress too, what people aren't realizing, and look at the big picture of all this. It's overpopulation. It's global overpopulation. And since you got so many people over in Africa, Middle East, Persian Gulf, everywhere from Somalia to Libya, trying to get into Europe, the mass population moves, everything, all the immigrants coming in, and along with the ones from the southern border coming in the United States. It's all about trying to find a better life, trying to find more resources, trying to find more jobs. And at what point do we have to shut them out and keep them out so we can survive?
Right.
Right. Well, and that's. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, the philosopher, I think it was, or scientist, Malthus.
Yeah, John Malthus. I can't remember his last. Malthus something.
Yeah, Malthus. The idea behind a Malthusian limit is that, I mean, he spoke of it for the world, but if you think about it, it can really go within individual countries too. And it's the idea that, you know, there's a point at which a population gets so big, you can't feed it, you know, you can't, there's not enough space on the land for people to live.
Yeah.
And you have these third world countries who basically have broken that limit. They've broken that threshold where in their countries, you know, population has gotten so big, they can't support the people that are there. And also, you know, a lot of these countries tend to have a lot of very, very low IQ people.
Yeah.
If you look at Haiti, you know, the #1 shithole country.
I was just thinking that.
I mean, you know, with all of these shithole comments, I, you know, watched a lot of videos, and these people are like living in like these shanty huts on the beach, and then like they don't, you know, they go and they poop on the beach so that the tide comes in and like flushes, you know, flushes the toilet of the beach.
You know,
I would say they've broken their Malthusian limits.
Yes.
We tried to help countries like India, for instance. I'm saying we as in Western civilization. We tried to help countries like India.
Doing well because we're bending over backwards for them. The only issue is they have a lot of Islam coming into their country, more than Europe. They have like 30%. So they might get broken from that.
Because it's still largely a shithole. We tried to impart our civilization to them, and it didn't work. The British tried this all over the globe with their empire, and it didn't take hold except for here in America because it was mostly a white colony.
Right.
So we tried to help them in avoid the situation that a lot of these countries are finding themselves in now, like Kenya and whatever, where they can't feed all their people. There's starvation. You know, tried to give them culture, give them some sense of moral responsibility, some sense of like dignity, and it just it didn't work out.
Right. I mean, you also look at Zimbabwe. They kicked out all the white farmers, and now they can't figure out how to get the land to grow crops.
Yep, and also South Africa is going down that route also.
Right.
I would love for America to take in all the, any white people who are remaining from Zimbabwe and South Africa.
That would be cool. That would
definitely vote on themselves.
That would be my compromise. We go ahead and legalize everybody here that is not an American. You can stay, but we take in 22 million whites from South Africa.
I don't think the Dems will go for that one.
Now we got a little balance.
I would like to see Schumer go. You convince Schumer and Pelosi of that.
Oh, going back to the world's ills and everything like that, one of the things I want to tell you what I noticed, because I'm the oldest one here. Okay, I was born in the late 1960s, so I'm like the first level of like the Gen X.
Okay.
And I remember going through all over. I've been all over Texas, especially all over New Mexico when I was in the 1970s when I was a kid, and parts of southern Colorado and Arizona. And I remember New Mexico was such a wide open state. There's little towns, and you come up through an area. If you didn't stop and get gas by 5 p.m., the gas station was going to shut down at 5 p.m. One guy was working there. It was super rural. Look at the movie Easy Rider. It was filmed in New Mexico in 1969, 1970. The old biker movie Easy Rider. That's a pretty good example of what rural New Mexico looked like when I was a little kid. You go to New Mexico now, it's totally different. The towns are bigger. Albuquerque is much bigger. It's a metroplex. Santa Fe is turned into this giant art mecca and meth head capital of the world. That's another story, okay? The rich people in there give money to the meth addicts, so the meth addicts hang around and do meth and eat, and they have free food. You're good to go. Like Seattle and New Mexico, or Portland and New Mexico. But things have changed with overpopulation. And this is what I'm trying to get at, is that we're losing our wide open lands to strip malls, apartment buildings, highways, everything you can possibly think of. And I don't want to see America turn and being paved over to like a giant version of Los Angeles, California.
So on that token,
this is not happening because we are having more kids. This is happening because we're importing people who are,
yes,
and they're not taking in our culture. It's too many people too fast. Maybe if the immigration was slower. I mean, if you look at Hispanics who are several generations in, a lot of them are actually Americanized, and they might even be patriotic. But the ones that come here, they come here, and even the second generation ones, they're growing up here, but they're running around in the street with Mexican flags, and then they're like, why can't I be an American citizen? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. I agree. Now, our population in America, I'd like to see it drop down to about 150 million and stabilize there, and have mostly wide open lands, farmlands, croplands, wilderness, not because I'm an environmental nut job. It's because if we have to preserve America for future generations. And I want to see wide open spaces. I want to drive through deserts and not see anything for an hour.
Or at least have people from the cities move outward and not have, what are we getting from all these people coming here? Well, our politicians are getting votes, and that's it.
They're getting cheap labor.
Not the good politicians.
Yeah, we're under this economic, this economic model where we have to have a growing population in order to have a country with a healthy economy. And what's happening in turn, we're destroying the land we have, the resources we have. We're running out of, the water is going to wind up getting bad, and we're going to run out of water. And already, what major city is running out of water? South Africa. Someplace in South Africa is finally running out of water. This will be out of water in a year or two.
Well, they say, I watched a video, I think last year, and basically China, apparently by 2030, it's not supposed to have any more clean drinking water, I guess they say.
Exactly. Now, if you guys want to see a movie that'll blow your mind, check out Blade Runner 2049. The new one. Well, I watched the first Blade Runner back in 1982 when it came out. Blade Runner 2049, and basically kind of will show what basically America is going to look like in about 200 years.
Actually, I'm kind of glad you brought that up, Tex. Okay, I'm going to completely change the movie here, but the show Black Mirror, I started watching that, and that's kind of like a modern day kind of Twilight Zone, but basically it kind of delineates what we can expect in the future in terms technology and stuff. And for instance, wallpaper being intelligent, things of that nature. But like I'm on like the 5th episode, but I noticed that it's interesting because each episode kind of shows like the benefits of future technology and how things will look and act and things of that nature. But at the end, basically the main character of the story or whomever, they always end up like wishing things were different. It always comes back to bite them. Things are never like end out good for them. And I don't know, it's really interesting. If you guys have Netflix, I recommend definitely watching Black Mirror. It's a show, and every episode is different with a different cast. But yeah,
I'll look into it.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary of a taste of things to come. There is also on YouTube, there's a lecture by Dr. Mikio Kaku. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's called Physics of the Future. And that one is really, really interesting. He discusses like what we can expect in 20, 30, 40 years from now. And it's going to be pretty crazy. Like as an example, there's going to be contact lenses or glasses. Like if you go overseas and say you're in a foreign country and you talk to somebody, subtitles will appear like on your glasses or in your contacts. And likewise, you can go on the internet using your glasses, and it's just, I mean, there's a lot of interesting.
They kind of had that Google Glass. But
yeah, that failed bad.
It was going to the going back to a movie that came out in the early '90s, but it's being talked about now with all the sex dolls. And I want a Cherry 2000. Okay, if anybody's ever seen that cheesy movie, but
what movie?
Cherry 2000. It was like the ultimate. It was like the ultimate sex doll robot. Okay, that's the joke of it. That's what I'm trying. You have to see the movie to understand the joke.
I will take your word for it, Tex. I'm sure you know a lot about it. So
come on, just don't take me seriously. But yeah, I think that's what it's going to. And I heard that supposedly on a sex doll thing, because we're basically moving into the future. The sex doll thing, it looks like a lot of women are starting to order the male sex dolls. That's been like the latest trend. I'm not kidding. I've been reading. Yeah, the women have been ordering the male sex dolls.
That's actually funny you say that, because one episode on Black Mirror, actually, her husband dies, and there's like technology now, like you can actually talk to a replicate of what he was. They use like his videos online and his tweets to try to kind of imitate his personality. And eventually, like, technology becomes so good that not only are you able to talk to an artificial replica of your significant other, you're able then to transport that consciousness into basically like a sex robot that's like lifelike. So it's kind of funny you bring that up, because there was an episode just like that too.
Wow.
And
wow, I think eventually, I'm talking 100 years from now, it might be able to, where you can upload your consciousness into an AI or merge it with an AI.
That is called transhumanism, and that is called the singularity. And they predict by 2050, people should be able to do that. We can download your consciousness into an robot or artificial intelligence, and you can essentially live forever.
Yeah. Now the AI girlfriend the main character had. Cool. Okay, even though it was just an AI and it was all holographic, that I'm giving away part of the movie. But that's it'd be fun to have to go. It's like the ultimate. What's that thing Amazon has? You speak to it.
Alexa.
Alexa. It's like the ultimate version of Alexa.
Alexa is a social justice warrior.
Yeah.
You heard SJW.
That Crowder
It's no
video.
accident that it lights up blue. That's for the hair color.
I would love to be able to hack into Alexa, and some master hacker, and somebody says, "Yeah, put on Chuck Yanker or whatever his name is on the Young Turks," and then Alexa would say something. "Oh, that fat slob. Okay, I'll put you over there right now."
Alrighty though, everyone. I think we're gonna call it good here. We discussed what we wanted and stuff that came randomly up. So again, everyone in the chat, thank you for coming on. I am with Analytical Chick, Texan, and Coffee with Comment. Hoped everyone like it, and thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks, Piper.
See you.